Hey there, folks. Tonight, we're diving into the complex world of national debt. Specifically, we're shining a light on South Korea, a country known for its K-pop, kimchi, and unfortunately, a rapidly growing pile of debt. Now, debt itself isn't inherently bad. It's like borrowing that fancy cheese grater from your neighbor, helpful in a pinch, but you gotta return it eventually. However, when a country's debt reaches record highs, it's like forgetting to return that cheese grater for, well, ever. And that, my friends, can be a recipe for disaster. South Korea's debt has been steadily climbing, reaching an unprecedented level in recent years. It's a situation that has economists, policymakers, and yes, even late-night comedy hosts a little concerned. So, buckle up as we explore the ins and outs of South Korea's debt dilemma together. Let's talk numbers, people, because, well, that's how we measure these things. Numbers give us a clear picture of where we stand and where we might be headed. They help us understand the magnitude of situations that might otherwise seem abstract or distant. South Korea's national debt recently surpassed, insert up-to-date percentage of GDP of its GDP. This is a significant milestone, and it has many people concerned about the future economic stability of the country. The debt-to-GDP ratio is a critical indicator of a nation's financial health, and surpassing certain thresholds can signal potential trouble ahead. To put that into perspective, imagine ordering takeout and getting hit with a tip that's bigger than the actual meal. It's an unexpected and unwelcome surprise, much like the growing debt is for South Korea. This analogy helps us grasp the weight of the situation in more relatable terms. That's essentially what's happening here. The country is facing a financial burden that feels disproportionate to its economic activities. It's a scenario that can lead to increased stress and uncertainty among citizens and policymakers alike. And it's not just the sheer size of the debt that's raising eyebrows. The rapid accumulation of debt is equally alarming. When debt grows too quickly, it can outpace the country's ability to manage it effectively, leading to potential economic instability. It's how quickly it's growing. The speed at which South Korea's debt is increasing is a cause for concern. Rapid debt growth can strain a nation's resources and limit its ability to invest in other critical areas like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The rate at which South Korea's debt is increasing is outpacing many other developed nations. This comparison highlights the urgency of the situation. While other countries are also dealing with debt, South Korea's pace of accumulation sets it apart and raises questions about sustainability. It's like that friend who keeps borrowing $1 here and there, and suddenly, they owe you enough for a down payment on a used car. This analogy underscores the cumulative effect of seemingly small incremental increases in debt. Over time, these small amounts add up to a significant and potentially unmanageable total. The situation has some experts comparing South Korea to other heavily indebted nations. These comparisons are not made lightly. They reflect genuine concerns about the country's financial trajectory and its ability to manage its debt in the long term. While it hasn't quite reached the levels of, say, Japan, it's important to note that Japan's debt situation is often cited as a cautionary tale. Japan has one of the highest debt-to-GDP ratios in the world, and its experience serves as a warning about the potential consequences of unchecked debt growth. It's heading in that direction faster than you can say Gangnam Style. This cultural reference not only adds a touch of humor, but also emphasizes the speed at which South Korea's debt is growing. It's a reminder that while the situation is serious, it's also happening in a dynamic and rapidly changing environment. So, what's fueling this debt fire? Let's dive deep into the intricate web of factors contributing to this financial conundrum. Well, it's a bit of a perfect storm, really. A combination of internal and external pressures has created a challenging economic landscape. One major factor is the aging population. South Korea is experiencing one of the fastest aging populations in the world. As more folks enter retirement, the government has to shell out more for pensions and healthcare. This increased expenditure puts a significant strain on public finances. It's like when your parents reach a certain age and suddenly expect you to foot the bill for their bingo nights and prune juice. But on a national scale, the costs are exponentially higher. On top of that, the South Korean economy has been hit with some curveballs in recent years. These unexpected challenges have further complicated the financial situation. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, forced the government to spend big on stimulus measures. These measures were necessary to keep the economy afloat, but came at a hefty price. Think of it like throwing a massive party to cheer everyone up, but then realizing you forgot to factor in the cost of all the confetti and party favors. The immediate joy is overshadowed by the looming bill, and let's not forget about global economic headwinds. The interconnected nature of today's world means that international issues can have a profound impact on South Korea's economy. Rising interest rates and inflation are making it more expensive for everyone, including governments, to borrow money. This adds another layer of complexity to the financial landscape. Imagine trying to pay off your credit card debt when the interest rate is higher than your monthly salary. Not ideal, right? This is the reality for many households and the government alike. Another contributing factor is the high youth unemployment rate. Many young people are struggling to find stable jobs, which affects their ability to contribute to the economy. Additionally, the burden of student loans is weighing heavily on the younger generation. With high education costs and limited job opportunities, many are finding it difficult to make ends meet. The housing market is another area of concern. Skyrocketing real estate prices have made it challenging for many to afford homes, leading to increased debt levels. The government has been trying to implement various policies and reforms to address these issues, but the road to recovery is long and complex. On a positive note, South Korea's innovation and technology sector continues to thrive. This sector could play a crucial role in driving economic growth and providing new opportunities. Cultural exports, such as the booming K-pop industry, also offer a glimmer of hope. These industries not only bring in revenue but also enhance South Korea's global image. Tourism is another potential area for growth. As global travel resumes, South Korea could see a boost in tourism, which would help stimulate the economy. Supporting small businesses and local markets is essential. These enterprises are the backbone of the economy and can drive sustainable growth. Community support and social programs are also vital. Ensuring that vulnerable populations receive the help they need can create a more resilient society. While the challenges are significant, there is hope for the future. With strategic planning and collective effort, South Korea can navigate these turbulent times and emerge stronger. The resilience and unity of the South Korean people will be key in overcoming these obstacles. Together, they can build a brighter and more prosperous future. Now you might be thinking, okay John, big debt, bad news, got it. But let's dive deeper into what this really means for our economy and our daily lives. But what does it actually mean for the economy? How does this mounting debt affect the average person, the businesses, and the overall economic health of a nation? Well, my friend, buckle up, because this is where things get interesting. We're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet, we're talking about real-world consequences that can ripple through every layer of society. A large national debt can act like a giant wet blanket on economic growth. It can discourage investment, stifle innovation, and create an environment of uncertainty. As businesses and individuals become wary of potential tax hikes or spending cuts down the line, they may hold back on spending and investment. This cautious behavior can slow down economic activity, leading to lower growth rates. It's like trying to convince your friend to invest in your artisanal pickle business when they know you're already drowning in student loan debt. The risk seems too high, and the potential returns too uncertain. Not exactly a compelling pitch. Investors and lenders are more likely to shy away from opportunities that seem fraught with financial instability. Moreover, a high debt-to-GDP ratio can lead to lower credit ratings. When a country's credit rating is downgraded, it signals to investors that lending to that country is riskier. This makes it more expensive for the government to borrow money in the future. Higher interest rates mean higher costs for servicing existing debt, which can quickly spiral out of control. Think of it like trying to get a loan after you've already maxed out your credit cards. The bank's probably not going to be too keen on giving you more, right? The same principle applies to countries. When a country is perceived as a high-risk borrower, it faces higher interest rates and tougher borrowing conditions. This can limit its ability to finance important projects and services. And here's the kicker, a vicious cycle can emerge. As the debt grows, so does the cost of servicing that debt, that is, paying interest. This can lead to a situation where a significant portion of the national budget is devoted to interest payments alone. This leaves less money available for essential services like education, infrastructure, and healthcare. These are the very services that contribute to the well-being and productivity of the population. Imagine a scenario where schools are underfunded, roads and bridges are in disrepair, and healthcare services are stretched thin. The quality of life for the average citizen can deteriorate rapidly, and, things that actually benefit the people. When a government is forced to cut back on these essential services, it can lead to social unrest and a decline in public trust. People may take to the streets to demand better services and more responsible fiscal policies. This can create a volatile political environment, further destabilizing the economy. Lawmakers are then faced with tough decisions. Do they raise taxes, cut spending, or find some other way to balance the budget? Each option comes with its own set of challenges and potential repercussions. For families and small businesses, this can mean higher taxes and reduced government support. It can make it harder to save for the future, invest in new opportunities, or even make ends meet. On the flip side, a well-managed debt can actually be a tool for growth. If used wisely, borrowing can finance projects that boost economic productivity and improve living standards. Investments in infrastructure, education, and technology can create jobs, stimulate innovation, and drive long-term economic growth. The key is to strike a balance between borrowing for growth and maintaining fiscal responsibility. Policymakers must carefully consider the trade-offs and make informed decisions that promote sustainable economic health. It's a delicate balancing act, but one that is crucial for the prosperity of the nation. In the end, the goal is to create an environment where businesses can thrive, families can prosper, and the economy can grow without being weighed down by unsustainable debt. By understanding the economic implications of mounting debt, we can better navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. It's about making smart choices today for a brighter tomorrow.